Hi Leo, it's Professor Fisher. I wanted to respond to your email and I'm glad the other video helped. So I'm going to start with the first question you had was about the fact that the account number is an integer. So you do want to still do set text. So I'm in your user UI here and I'm just going to change this to be set text. And you see that you do get this error, right? Because account number is an integer, and so it can't convert it. So what we can do is we can convert it. One of a few ways is just to put a null string, just to put a null string here and then concatenate that with the account number. So that's an easy way an easy fix for this. So let's go ahead and fix that in a couple places. And one more, I'm going to change this back to be set text again. And then in here, I'll do the double quotes, double quotes. So basically, I'm just taking whatever the integer is, say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is an integer variable. I'm saying now I'm appending it to really nothing. There's no spaces or anything there, but it's a string, and it just converts it to the string data type. All right, so that takes care of that. Let me go ahead and save that. Okay, so that was the user UI, and then the second question you had, I believe, was about the buttons. Okay, so in the assignment, the instructions want us to use the controller to take care of all the action performed. But if you accidentally, when you're in the design view, if you accidentally hit on one of these buttons twice, it automatically adds code and an event handler to handle that button. So that's all I was trying to show in the video. So you can see here in your code it says next button action performed. But we're not going to use the user UI to control the actions. What we're going to do is we're going to put everything in the user control. So if I go back over here, it looks like you already changed all these to be a public visibility, which makes it a lot easier. So you already have that. And you have next, previous, update, delete, and new. Okay, so, and you have the action listeners there. And then down here, I'm not sure why we have this here. So this is going to be a problem, this throw. So let's get rid of this all the way down to here. Okay, because that's just saying throw unsupported operation, but really we want it to just go down here and look for the different buttons that you're pushing. Okay, so I'll get rid of that. So I check to see if it's the previous button. If it is, I check and see if they're already at position 0 in the list, meaning that they can't go any further backwards. I'm sorry, they can't go any further backwards. If they can, I just subtract 1 and refresh the screen. If it's the next button, you want to do something similar here. So you're going to say something like if the user UI dot next button, current user, and what I want to check and see is if I'm at the end of the list. So if this is equal to list.size, but don't forget size gives me one too many, right? Because size tells me if there's 5 names, 5 users, the values of the current user actually start at 0. So the last one I have is 4. So if I'm at position 4, then I can't go any further. So if that's the case, I'm just going to print out a message to the screen saying there are no more users. And I just want it to stay there. Okay, so that way I'll just do an else. If not, I can go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so it'll just stay on the last one, but for testing purposes, you'll be able to see in the output window that there are no more users. Okay. So you had asked about, okay, so the next one is the update button. So if we go back over to our user UI, so if they're gonna click on update, so let's say that there's a first name in here and it says Peggy and they want to change it to Margaret. So they can type in Margaret, and when they hit on update, I want to update the object that's in the array list, right? So we can do that. So let's go back over to user control. So if they click on the update button, the first thing I need to do is to get all the fields from the UI and put them into the object. So I'm going to do list.get. I'm going to get .set. I'm going to set the list.get. Let me get the item first. So first I'm going to get the item that's in the current position that I'm at. So I'm going to do the user UI dot current user, right? So now that I have that object, now I can say .set, and I can set all the fields. So I can do set address. Now the thing is, I want to use the address that is in the text field. So here, what I'll do is I'm going to say the user UI dot, and I want to use the address text field dot get text. Okay, so if they made a change to the address, I'm going to update the address in the list, and then when I do the refresh, it'll just show it again. So I can do list.get, and I can get again the user UI dot current user dot set user first name, and same thing. I'm going to do the user UI dot let's see, where do you have first name text field dot get, because I want to get whatever the user updated on the screen. I want to get that text, and I want to update in the list. So you're going to need to finish this. So add update for remaining fields. Okay. It looks like you only have a couple of the set methods. So let me just go over to your user real quick. So it looks like you have a set address, set first name, set last name, and set position. So those are the only things that you're going to be able to update. Since these methods are public, you can access them, but since you don't have, you know, a set for the bank account or some other, so you can, if you add more fields, more get methods to the user class, you should be able to do that. If you don't add them, then you can't do that. All right, the last one is the new button. So the new button, so let's think about the logic behind it. So if a user wants to add a new user, then they're going to want to add all that information, right? So we're going to want to create a new user object, and then we're going to want to add that new user object to the list. Now, the other thing is that if they click on new, you probably want to start with a blank UI, right? You want to make sure that they're not having to type over all the other information, unless some of it might be standard. But let's just say that we don't want to do that. So when they click on the new button, we might want to have an additional button that says submit that allows you to add the new user. So what I recommend, you don't have to do it this way, but what I recommend is on here is to add a button. I'll just put it right below add new because I only want it to show up when they click on add new. All right, and I'm going to go to the code. I'm going to make it public, and I'm going to give it a different variable name. I'm going to call it submit btn. Submit button, and I'm going to go over to the properties because I wanted to, whoops, there we go. I wanted to, instead of saying J button 1, I wanted to say submit. And so the submit button, so first they'll click add new, then that will give them a blank screen. When they click on submit, it'll add it to the list and submit button will not be visible anymore. All right, so the other thing is I don't want the submit button to be visible in the beginning. So let's go ahead back over to user control, and I need to add the action listener as well. So let's go ahead and do the user UI dot submit button dot add action listener. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, since I don't want it to be there in the beginning, I'm going to say the user UI dot submit button dot set visible to false. All right, now when they click on the add button, new button, okay, is what you called it, new button, the first thing I'll do is say that I want that now to be available, the user UI dot submit, whoops, sorry, the user UI dot submit button dot set visible to true. So now that'll show up, and then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to reset all the variable fields. So you can do this a couple ways. You can do it in here, or you can create a new method in your user UI that actually blanks out all these fields. Actually, I'm going to do it that way because it might just be a little bit less typing if I could just, I don't know. Either way is fine. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to copy all of this. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go back over to the user control, and I'll just put it in here. So, and you know, there's a lot of ways that we could do this. So let me add the user UI dot, and I'm just going to copy this, and then I can copy and paste it. You could make this its own method here, and that way you don't have to do all this here, but all right, Control V, okay, whoops, Control V, Control V, Control V, whoops, Control V, and Control V. All right, whoops, what did I do? Control, oh, I must have messed something up there. Okay, the user UI dot account text field. Now over on the right hand side, instead of setting the text to anything in particular, I want it to be null. So I'm just going to do the double quote again. Okay, so we would just do that for each one. Oops. Let me see, maybe it's a little quicker if I just delete all these and then go back and put that in there. Oops. Sorry. I always feel bad when you have to watch me type and it's taking a while. So you're going to want to do this for each one. So let's just kind of get this done here. Double quote, double quote, double quote, double quote, and the last one. All right, so now I'm setting everything to just a null field so that when they see it and they're in the add button, they know they have to put values in there. Okay, I don't really care what size the array list is, so I can get rid of that. But now what I need to do is I need to do list.add, and I want to add a new version of the user. So you could do it a couple of different ways. One way would be that you could say user new user equals new user, and then you would just use the get for all the fields. So let's yeah, let's do it this way. We'll kind of, I don't know if this matches your constructor, so this might end up not working, but I'm going to try it. And so I would just put commas here, because you have to give it all the fields that you need when you're creating a new user. Okay, and you want to get it from the fields that are existing on the UI. So, and now I just need to do the user UI again, dot. So it's a lot of typing here. So we would just want to do that for each one. Control V. And because the current user variable is only accessible here, I got to also do it here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. All right, so oops, and here. All right, now let's see. Is it going to tell me? Okay, void type not allowed here. What? Void type not allowed here. Okay. User new user equals new user, and then I have I'm getting the, let's see, I have address, first name, last name, user position, bank. Do you have one of those? So no, we don't. Okay. We have address, first name, last name, and position. Let's go ahead with that one. So address, first name, last name, and position. So I'm going to get rid of all that. Okay. And open parentheses here. This matches up with that one. So I have one extra one here. Let's get rid of that. Now, the user.address field, oops, not .set text. I'm sorry, I need to .get text. So what did I do there? Sorry, I must have copied the wrong code. So .get, let me do address field .get text. And then the next one would be first name field .get text. Too much copy and pasting. I kind of messed things up, so I hope this is okay. I hope you can follow. So what I'm doing here, as I stated, is I'm just going ahead and creating a new user object so that I can add that new user object when they want to add a new user. I can add that to the list. So dot set text. Okay, the user UI. Oops, this should be get. Okay. All right, kiddo. And then here, instead of doing this, what we're going to do is we're just going to add new user. All right, that was this is ending up being a very long video, and I apologize that a lot of it is just watching me type, but I think that that should help you with some of the buttons, at least I hope. Let me save that and see where we're at. It still says I have an error. Do I have extra curly brackets? Nope. Oops, save, there it goes. All right, so that hopefully helps you to understand a few things that are going on. I hope the video is clear enough for you to see, and let me know if you have any more questions.